everyone, Jessi here from My Life in Arts and Crafts, and today we're going to make a cute little treat bag. So this is the treat bag we're actually making today. And so what I've used is some of the Sangria Paper line. This is the Sangria Paper pattern paper, and then I also have cocoa and cashmere and pomegranate, right? Yeah, that's right. So with that, I'm also using the Artbooking Cricut Cartridge. Now this cartridge is designed more as a scrapbooker's kind of cartridge, but I don't make scrapbooks. So I thought it would be really fun to make little treat bags with it. And these are little glassine bags that are available in my shop on Etsy. So I'll have links to everything below and also on the end card. These are great for little gifts for classrooms. You have to be careful with giving candy to classroom kids anymore, but they're really great size because you can put like a handful of Hershey Kisses. I put M&Ms, and I think I put like 4 Hershey Kisses in here. If you're giving them to kids, don't put M&Ms because they have to have closed candy. But if you're just giving these to your friends or something, or house party, these are great. So the glassine bags come in a little pack like this from my shop on Etsy, and they'll have a little label that says My Life in Arts and Crafts and glassine bags, but it's just really simple. I did the packaging so that you don't have to pay for the packaging so much. You just pay for 15 bags. So 15 bags is $1.50 plus shipping. So they're pretty cheap, and if you wanted to order multiples, that's fine too. You can do like, they just come in packs of 15 because that way if you're just using them for crafts, you're not stuck with like a whole ton of them. Because I don't use them. I use them to make treat bags, and I maybe use 30 total. So, like I said, these are the cute little glassine bags. They measure about 3.5 by 5. They're about 3.5 by 5.5. So, they're nice size bags. And you can also put things in them and then just stick them in your albums. So, if you didn't want to make treat bags. So, to make this, you will need however many bags you need for whatever you're making them for. You'll need some candy. You'll also need the Sangria Paper pack from Close to My Heart. And then I am using the stamp set from, this actually came with the Artfully Sent Cricut Cartridge stamp set in particular because it has all of these sayings on it. It's one of my go-to stamp sets. So I am using the Happy Valentine's Day. In the screenshot that I'm going to show you in a second, I actually drew it on with one of the Cricut pens, but I didn't like how that looked, so I had to redesign it. And the difference is that I cut out the same exact heart in the Sangria paper as well as cocoa paper. So I just layered them beside each other. And then you can decide if you want to do the circle underneath or just leave it out. I did it underneath because I didn't want to see the staple as much in the back. And that way it just gave it a little more stability. So I'm going to grab my pieces to make this and we'll get started. Alright, so I have on my mat, I've drawn a rectangle that measures the same size of my glassine bags. And my little glassine bags from top to bottom, including that little lip, are 5¼ inches tall and 3.5 inches wide, approximately. Might be a little bit off, but that's the general size. So for this, I'm using my Cricut Explorer because I want to use my Close to My Heart Artbooking Cartridge. Now this cartridge is designed to do scrapbooking layouts, but I am not a scrapbooker. I am going to use this and make all kinds of other things because I like some of the shapes that are in here. So I am going to be using the doily that is on page 80 or 58, excuse me. And we're going to go to Insert Images, Cartridges, and I'm going to go down. I'm just going to scroll down to Artbooking. You could just type Artbooking in if you wanted to. It's not that big of a deal. Actually, I might have to. Yep, I might have to. Artbooking. There it is. They're actually under Close to My Heart and then dash the title. So I'm going to go View All Images. Now, I'll put the number on the screen as to what image number this is, so you don't have to look through here. But you're going to look for the one that looks like the little doily. And it's this guy right here. The image number is right there for you. M472B3, or BC, can't read. I'm going to close the little thing. I'm going to insert this image. But I'm going to grab the other image that I want too. I also want, there's a little heart. I want the little heart. That is where is it not going to show up? Is it part of the layer of something else? There it is. So here's our little heart. So I'm going to click on that. And let's see. Do I want anything else? I think that'll be okay for right now. I'll grab those two things. So now I want the doily and the heart. I'm going to bring the heart over here. The doily I'm actually going to use as my bag topper. So I need this doily from this little piece right in here, which is actually going to be smaller than the whole dimension, because I want these little insert pieces to be right in here to be the edge of my bag. So what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that they're going to fit right in there and not have too much out. So see, it's going to have a little bit of an overhang on each of these sides. That's okay. I want it like that. So this is a good size. So this ends up being 3.9 inches. So that's a good size for that guy. And now this little heart, I want to be smaller because it's going to sit right on top of there. And now I'm going to use my close to my heart pens to write on here. So I am going to go to my add text tool and I'm going to type in happy, enter, Valentine's Day. Yep. And now I'm going to pick a different font. I'm going to go to System Fonts. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm going to go back to here and I'm going to click Has a Writing Style. And now I can look at all these different ones that have writing styles. Anything that has a price tag on it is not one that I've purchased. And I don't like purchasing fonts through Cricut. I mean, some people do. I just prefer not to because I don't want to spend $5 on a font. I could use a different close to my heart font. I could use one that I already have. See, some of these get up to be $6, $7. Here's one that says, it's called Simple Celebrations. And then Teardrop I Own. So let's just go with Simple Celebrations. That's a fine font. Now I want it to be centered, so I'm going to take it and use my center tool. I'm also going to change the line spacing between here. So I am going to make that smaller. So I want the letters to be closer together. Now if you notice, this is 1 inch. Right in here, that's 1 inch. So my heart is going to be about 2 inches in height. So this needs to be a lot smaller. And I don't know how small I can make it with actually being able to read it when I write it out, because the pens have kind of a thicker point. So I think if I use the close to my heart ones, it might actually have too thick of a point. So I might end up using my regular Cricut pens that have a fine point. So I might end up doing that. So I'm just going to position this inside this heart. I'm going to put that back in there. I'm going to select over both of them. I'm going to hit attach. Now these two shapes are going to become attached, and I'm going to write on this shape. If I would leave them open, it would not necessarily tell me that I'm writing on here. It would give me another place to write. So I am going to cut this out for my topper, and then I'm going to put this little guy right in here, and that's going to be my little treats that I make. Now I can always take another shape, insert shape, and let me just flip through my handbook real quick. Page 74, there's an icon that would work really well. So let's go back to cartridges and type in Artbooking. It's going to pop up. Now, remember I've said in other videos that if you do not own the Close to My Heart cartridges, they will not show up in a search. You have to own them and purchase them through a Close to My Heart representative or independent consultant in order to get them for your Explorer or Expression or whatever, whatever machine you're using. So if you are interested in purchasing them, there'll be a link either on the screen or down below to head over to my website to purchase these. They are a little pricey, but you do get quite a bundle with them, so it makes it worth it. And if you haven't seen my Artfully Sent series that I've begun, I will put a link to the first one in that series as well. So I'm thinking I want this icon, and this icon looks like, it's not that one. It looks kind of like, this one's pretty cute too. I need just some kind of shape. Here's another one. Here's a top, like a top note one. I think it's this one. It's this one. So the number is M34D04. We're going to insert that shape. And now I'm going to make this smaller. And I could just put this on top of here if I wanted to have something bigger to write on or whatever. Or I could put this on the back or even on the front. I think I'm going to put it on the back, and I'm just going to write the person's name that I'm giving this to. And it popped in with the same font that I've been using, so it knows that I'm still using Simple Celebrations. I'm going to make it a little smaller. I can actually take both of these shapes and select over top of them and go center. And then go back to layers and attach. Now I can put this on the back. It doesn't matter that it's a different color. That's fine. I'm probably going to cut this out in white, do this in a pink, and then do this in red. So I'm going to get these cut out, and then I will meet you up and we will assemble these. So you are going to need one of the cocoa hearts, one of the Sangria pattern paper hearts, and this is just a really pretty chevron paper. You could do any of those patterns. Now, when you're using the Cricut Explorer, there isn't the shadow function, but if you were to make this with a different machine, what I would suggest is use just a doily and a little label, and then do a heart that has a shadow, or do the offset in another software. I also have a circle. The circle I did not include in the screenshot video, so I'll just put the dimensions on the screen here for you. And then here is my really pretty doily. And I will give you a warning, I would not do this doily if you were going to make these if you were going to make, say, 30 of them, because the doily did take quite a while to cut out with the Cricut Explorer. So I'm just going to pop out the rest of these little tiny things. Okay, and those images are found on, the doily and the heart are on page 58 in the handbook. And then the label shape is on page 74 in the handbook. And then the circle is just one of the basic shapes from the Cricut Design Space software. You will need one of the glassine bags, so you just pull it out. You're also going to need some kind of adhesive. I am going to use the Extreme Tack from Tombow because I want this to stay together, and I'm also going to use a staple gun or stapler. If you have a tiny attacher or the mini stapler, that would be perfect. I ran out of staples for that, so I'm just going to use a regular stapler. I also have some liquid glue. This is my Ranger Multimedia in the matte finish. I just have mine in a fine line applicator bottle. I am using cocoa ink because it corresponds with my paper. And like I said before, I'm using the Just to Say Cricut collection from Artfully Sent stamp set, and I'm using the Happy Valentine's Day up at the top. You're also going to need some candy. I've got some Valentine Kisses and some Valentine M&Ms. And I'm just going to open my bag up. There is a seam in the bag, in the back of the bag, so I put the seam in the front on this one. It doesn't really matter to me, but if you're worried about it, put the seam in the back. So let's do it that way for this one. I'm going to take 4 Hershey Kisses and stick them in there. And just throw in like a handful of M&Ms. So when you fold this, if you fold it forward, you're going to see a little bit of that back, but you're going to end up with the bigger part of the top in the front, which is going to give you just a little bit of an extra seal. So just fold down a little bit, give it a crease. Now I'm going to grab my bone folder. So I am using the Teflon bone folder from Ellen Hudson, but you could use the bone folder from Close to My Heart. I really like this one. So I'm going to gently fold my circle, just with my fingers, in half. So I'm going to pinch the middle, and then just kind of bring both sides, and then grab my bone folder, and just crease it. Now this is where I use the circle. I just put the circle right in the middle, and I used that to staple through. So I'm just going to grab my stapler and staple through the bag. Okay? And then same thing with my doily. I'm going to fold my doily in half. So this doily, if you fold one edge and just get this one edge started, you can match it up because it will match up perfectly all the way around. Because it's pretty delicate, you want to just take your time and kind of match all the points up. Now you could use just a shape, or if you wanted to, you could go in and hide contour on some of these pieces in here. It's up to you. I just really like the look of the doily. Now the doily is going to fit just on top of there. I tried to make sure that my circle was just the right size to fit inside of there. I did get it a little bit off when it cut, but that's okay. This is the part that's optional. If you didn't want to use that circle, you would then staple through the doily. But I did use the circle so I didn't have to staple through the doily. So on the front, on this one side, I'm going to use my Tombow Extreme Adhesive. And then I'm going to also take my Ranger Multimedia Matte. And I'm just going to put some in the middle and then on the back. So now I'm just going to put more glue side in the back and then less glue in the front and just line that up and stick it down and give it a hold. Now remember, because we put that extreme adhesive on this side, just be careful where you put your fingers. But I'm going to cover that up with my circle or my heart, so it's not going to matter. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for a minute. I'm going to grab my label and my cocoa ink. I'm going to ink up my stamp. And I'm going to stamp it so that it's off to the side. Okay. Now for my heart, I'm going to use my adhesive. And I just want adhesive on one side because I'm going to offset my heart. So I'm going to line up the center points. And I'm going to just bring it off to the side, making sure that the bottom is the same along the bottom side. And you don't see the other bubble from the top of the heart. So I'm going to put adhesive kind of here. Like that. And then just line it up. And you just don't want to see anything in that little crevice of the heart. And have this edge line up. Now this is going to sit kind of under there. So it's going to kind of be tucked under the edge. So to do that, I just make a note on where I need adhesive. Put some adhesive. And then put my heart on. Okay, so there's my cute little label. And then I can use whatever kind of adhesive I want to stick this on here. I'm actually just going to grab my extreme adhesive. Okay, so then this is just going to sit right on there. And just press it down. So that's our super cute, super easy little Valentine treats that you could easily mass produce, probably if you didn't use the doily, or if you have a lot of time, you could probably cut out a bunch of the doilies and it would be just fine. It is a very pretty cut. I love the look of the doily on top of these glassine bags with the pomegranate and using the cocoa ink with the Sangria paper. I just really like the look of it. I think it's really cute and kind of elegant, but not too elegant that you would feel bad about giving it to some younger people.